Welcome to the Light Seekers Lounge. I'm Annie Love and this is episode 104. Hello friends, it is so lovely to be back here with you. I'm sorry for my little unplanned podcasting holiday over the past month. In my most recent solo episode, episode 102, I talked about some very practical planning strategies that I use to map out the rest of the year and keep calm in a season that tends to be pretty busy. Today, I want to approach it from a slightly different angle and talk about the questions I ask myself to keep up momentum in the final quarter of the year. But firstly, I want to share a disclaimer that this doesn't come with a sense of productivity and urgency at all costs. You know what? We can get to the end of this year without having everything ticked off the to-do list. And also, the world doesn't stop on the 31st of December, so it's also completely okay for goals and actions to roll over to 2024. They can wait. I also want to acknowledge that there is a lot going on in the world right now, especially in recent weeks with the referendum in Australia and horrendous conflict and destruction around Israel. So if you are feeling that big energy and finding it hard to think about being practical and having momentum at the moment, I feel you and I get you, and that is okay. Perhaps for you, there's a sense of just holding on for dear life and getting through all that needs to happen for the remainder of the year. Historically, for me, the final term of school for the year and the lead into Christmas is really busy on the personal front and generally involves me losing focus and motivation on anything business related until the boys go back to school in late January. And that's a pretty long time to lose focus, but I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm just thinking about ways that I can tweak things for this year. Last year, with buying a house unexpectedly at the end of November and a frantic 4 months until the March settlement of the home we were selling, pretty much my sole focus was on houses and just keeping my head above water. So this year, I'd really like things to feel different. So here are some questions I've been asking myself and encouraging my clients to ask themselves as we approach the end of the year. Hello, fellow seeker of light, and welcome to the Light Seekers Lounge. I'm Annie Love, and I'm a certified coach for incredible humans who want to build wholehearted businesses. I help them master their mindset, create simple strategies, and take meaningful action towards their goals in a soul-nourishing way that honours their business, their family, and most importantly, themselves. I'm also a wife and a mum to 3 gorgeous boys. Our parenting journey has been, well, a bit of a roller coaster. And while our family has navigated some pretty tumultuous times, I've learned just how important it is to keep seeking the light and the joy. Even in the midst of darkness, I believe that we can find light on the other side, even if the landscape is different to how we expected it to look. Here in the Light Seekers Lounge, we're going to share stories and conversations about how we create our best life, even when things feel hard. Thank you for being a light seeker with me. I am so glad you're here. Now, let's get on with the show. So the first question I'd love you to think about is, when you are sitting back on New Year's Eve this year, thinking about how 2023 went for you, how do you want to feel? What words come up for you? Do you want to feel accomplished and that you got everything ticked off the list that you wanted to achieve? Do you want to feel relaxed, refreshed, balanced, and ready to start the new year? Do you want to feel connected, that you've embraced the festive season with your family and loved ones? So I'd love you to have a think about that. How do you want to feel when you're sitting back on New Year's Eve this year? The second question I have for you is, what are the top 3 goals you want to be able to say you have achieved this year? Be really honest about what's truly important to you. And I think it's important that there are no more than 3 in this list. So if you're thinking about those 3 goals that you want to have said, yep, did that in 2023, how close are you to achieving those 3 goals? What else needs to happen for you to complete those goals by the end of this year? Now reverse engineer them and write out an action list of steps that you need to take towards those goals. What small actions can you take towards those goals each and every day between now and the end of the year to get you closer? What tasks will be non-negotiable to complete? So I'd love you to write those 3 goals out. Maybe you do 1 per piece of paper with the actions underneath, and stick them up on your wall so you can see them every day and remind yourself of how important they are to you. All right, number 3. What do you need to let go of achieving this year? Now, I know that you are a superstar, but we can't always do everything we set out to achieve in a specific time frame. So, what do you need to surrender? What can you let go of for this year and put on your list for next year? Write out in a journal any goals that you'll carry over to 2024, and you can come back to these in the new year. Don't let them take up any headspace in these last few months of the year. Don't fall into the shoulds. I should be getting this done. Just surrender, and you can revisit them in January. Now, number 4, how can you look after yourself in these busy final months of the year? Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to fall into a heap on the 31st of December and take the next month to recover. What does looking after yourself look like in these final months of the year? How can you protect your energy? Perhaps it's about drawing boundaries and saying no to some social gatherings rather than saying yes out of obligation. Perhaps it's deciding not to drink alcohol at some of the gatherings this year. Maybe it's about prioritizing exercise or naps so that your body feels nourished even when things are busy. Maybe it's about asking for help rather than carrying everything alone. Share the load. Be intentional about caring for you and prioritizing what you need rather than waiting until you have time. Small, sustainable acts of self-care every day can do wonders. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to cost anything, actually. It might just be a walk around the block with the dog. That's my go-to. Or perhaps reading a book for 15 minutes by yourself. Don't hold out and push through and then find yourself burnt out and not able to enjoy Christmas. All right, number 5, what beliefs will support you as you finish out the year? Now, this one might seem a little bit left of field, but hear me out. If you are constantly thinking things like business is always dead this time of year, or I am always flat out and exhausted in the lead up to Christmas, then guess what? You'll probably discover that whatever you believe comes true. Where focus goes, energy flows. So, what beliefs would serve you better this year? What about my business is thriving and my clients love buying from me in the lead up to Christmas? Or I love making memories with my family in the festive season. Treat it like an affirmation. Write it out and say it to yourself regularly. So think about the beliefs that maybe you need to reframe and put in a slightly different light. All right, here are those questions for you again. when you are sitting back on New Year's Eve this year, thinking about how 2023 went, how do you want to feel? Number 2, what are the top 3 goals that you want to be able to say you achieved this year? Be really honest about what's truly important to you. Number 3, what do you need to let go of achieving this year? Number 4, how can you look after and support yourself in these busy final months of the year? And number 5, what beliefs will support you as you finish out the year? I hope you find those questions supportive as you approach the next couple of months. Maybe you can have a listen back to this with a journal and write them down. You can pause as you go and write out your answers. Do a weekly check-in to see how you're feeling. Revisit your goals and actions, and then you can tweak and change them as you need to. I know that I will be trying to make the most of these last few months of the year before having a little break with the fam over the Christmas New Year period, just at home this year. Now that we are properly settled into our new home, I'm hoping there'll be a lot more lazing by the pool this summer. Definitely hoping not to have to pack any boxes or move house again for another decade or so. Oh, that was a lot. I hope that you have the most beautiful week, and I will talk to you again soon. Hey, thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Light Seekers Lounge podcast. I am so grateful to have you here. If you loved the show, it would mean the world to me if you could hit subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. I would love to continue the conversation with you, so come on over and join the Light Seekers Lounge Facebook group, or come say hi to me on Instagram at annielove.coach. Talk to you soon.